Welcome to Twin Speak, Christian music and other stuff. I'm Joe.
And I'm Matt.
And we're twin brothers who, like many of you, were raised on and by Christian music. Listen as we dive into the melodies and lyrics. We'll explore the artists and bands that shaped our upbringing, from the synthesizing energy of Krumbacher to the hard rock anthems of Petra, Skillet, Whiteheart, Striper, and more. We'll share our favorite memories, the concerts that blew our minds, and the tracks that still resonate with us today. In each episode, we'll not only review iconic albums and songs, but also invite special guests, fellow musicians, fans, and maybe even some of our childhood heroes to join in on the conversation. Expect plenty of surprises, from deep dives into the stories behind the songs and twin banter that comes along with being twin brothers. So whether you're a die-hard fan or just curious, we promise to keep it entertaining. Get ready for some epic throwbacks, insightful discussions, and of course, lots of laughter. Let's celebrate the music that brought us together and continues to inspire us. Welcome to the journey of Twin Speak.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Yeah! 20 years old.
I can't hear it either.
Well. Welcome to Twin Speak, Christian music and other stuff. I'm Joe Prainito, joined by my understudy, Matt Prainito. What's up, Matt?
It's good to see you, Joe.
Yep.
You know, you're a tad bit blurry, but that's usually how it goes anyways. So, I would say it's good to see you, but it's actually better to see me.
Oh, well, good for you. Well, and on the other side of the screen, we have lead vocalist of Calamity Kills and Guardian, Jamie Rowe. Jamie, what's up, man?
Man, it's Sunday night and it's Columbia, Tennessee, and I'm talking to you guys, so life is good, man. It's funny, just hearing Fire and Love, like that was always one of my favorite tracks, man, just on the record. And it's just like, I'm 54 as I sit here right now, and I was thinking, man, I was 20 years old when I recorded that, man. And it seems like yesterday. Wow. For real. I know everybody says that, but it's the truth. And a little trivia, The first song I sang on that record, for the record I ever recorded with Guardian, was the song Turn Around. So,
is that right?
If you're familiar with Fire and Love, that song Turn Around was the very first song I ever sang. That was the first lead vocal I did for that record.
Wow. Okay.
So 54, just not to date it or anything like that, but the first time I think that Joe and I probably even knew that this album existed and then saw you live was in California. And I want to say we were maybe 15 years old, max. And just fell in love with this entire album. And so that's funny. You were 20 years old. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's funny though. I was, even though it's a Guardian record and I sang on it stuff, I was such a nostalgic sweet spot for the whole Fire and Love and Miracle Mile era. It was just really cool to be a part of, man. It really was.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like Matt was saying, the first time we saw you guys, we were going to a concert at Chaffey College in Ontario, California. And you guys were playing with X Center. So we were showing up.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I remember that day.
Oh, do you?
Totally remember. Yes, I do remember that day, because that was the first time that Greg from X Center had heard me sing and stuff. And I remember, he was like, hey, and everything. And after the show, he's like, man, I remember he'd tell Bach or Tony or somebody, like, where'd you find that singer? You know what I mean? And then 6 months later, I sang backgrounds on their second record.
Oh, Peace Treaty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, okay. I completely remember that show, for real.
That's funny. Yeah. So
what you probably don't remember then is I bought that CD. Joe was sitting down. I got up, bought the CD because I'm like, okay, I think Joe and I just wanted to hear. We didn't know much of Guardian at the time, so I'm like, okay, let's buy this CD. So I bought it, and you took it out of my hands, unwrapped it, and signed it. And
That's my wife.
music.
Okay, I unwrapped it. Sorry, I got to get kisses.
It.
Come on.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
good.
you gotta
You're
get
good.
this. Absolutely. but you signed it, and I'm like, I don't know who he is.
Oh,
And I sat down, and Joe and I are looking at the CD, and I think Joe still actually has the CD.
Yeah, I do.
Or the J card, and he's like, wait, I know who it is. It's this guy. This guy signed it. It's so
awesome.
funny, but I think I've only seen you maybe 2 or 3 times after that. One off of Miracle Mile, one off of Swing Swang Swung, and then that was it. But great album. So
yeah,
it
man.
brings that
It was a great
nostalgia.
time. It really was.
And like I was going to say, we showed up at that show, and when we showed up as X-Center fans, and we left Guardian fans. So I had first watch,
Same.
and I was like, okay, well, as long as they play Mystery Man, I guess I'm good. You know, I'll never leave you. And then when you came out, I was like, okay, it's over. We left actually halfway through X-Center. No offense to X-Center. My mom was outside picking us up.
great.
But yeah, so anyways, so
No,
we're
dude, I remember we played. Sorry, my first show with Guardian was in Minneapolis. We did 2 nights there, and then the second show was 2 nights on New Year's Eve at Knott's Berry Farm, and that was like the Southern California debut of the new Guardian, you know. And I remember meeting some guys who actually ended up like volunteering for road crew like later on for us and everything. And I remember that show because they said, I can't believe I like Guardian now. And it was like, and you know, how I take at 20, you know, how do you take that? Like, okay, cool. But they would say when Mystery Man would come on before, I guess, you know, they just weren't a fan of the band. And they would say, instead of whoa, whoa, they'd say, oh, no. You know what I mean? So I always got a kick out of that.
That's funny.
If those guys are watching, they had a road crew company called the Checkered Penguins. So,
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well,
No,
it actually is a good album. Matter of fact, I just got the vinyl of that one. So there
look
you go,
at
Matt.
you idiot!
I know.
You're
Don't
always
be-
pulling out the vinyls that I want.
Yeah. Well, there
And
you go.
know, I have. Okay, all right.
So,
well, good.
anyways,
but you know what? The ones behind you are really good too, and behind me.
yeah. So
I see him.
So, Jamie, of course, we're big fans, so we're not going to fan out too much on you, you know. But for the most part, I do kind of want to jump right in. So you were 20 years old. You were 20 years old. Obviously, you know, I mean, about that age when Fire and Love came out. Man, you're freaking young at that point. Were you always? Were you raised as a Christian? You know, just kind of talk about your faith. Were you raised as a Christian, or is that something you came into?
You know, it's funny. I was raised in a Christian school environment and stuff, and my mom had become a Christian. And it's I've told the story a bunch, but it's like, you know, I went to this Christian school. I had an older brother, and he was having issues with the public school system, like he failing classes, and you know they didn't make him do anything. He just kind of, you know, phoned it in, and I was actually doing quite well, just fine. It was in 6th grade, and I remember having to go with them to this like orientation for this school, and I went there and I looked around and said, "Hey, I wouldn't mind to go here too." And it was as simple as that. So anyway, so my 7th grade year, I started this new school, and it's funny, like, you know, made some friends early on. They had Thursday night chapel services with the church. The school was attached to a church, and my mom, I convinced her to go so I could hang out with my friends, and then and she went and gave her life to Christ. And I remember I was mad, like, I'm not gonna have any fun anymore. It's, you know, this is terrible, blah blah blah. And to get to the point though, man, you know, from 7th grade to 11th, I went to a Christian school, and you know, and I really had an issue with people claiming to be Christians in leadership and whatnot and stuff that, you know, just. I heard a lot about Jesus, but I didn't see a lot about Jesus. And then I don't believe in the scare tactics thing, but in my case, it kind of worked. An evangelist came through and preached on hell one night, and it really scared me, like for real. And I went to the altar, and I didn't hear an audible voice, but I really felt like God kind of saying, "Yeah, these people, you know, they are what they are, but what have I done to you?" You know what I mean? And I really felt that was the Spirit speaking to me, and I realized God. It's still, even at my age, man. there's been seasons in my life where I've been a total bozo. You think, okay, this guy was in Guardian, okay, and here's, this is a polar opposite of this guy. But God has always been consistent, and Christ has always, he's never let me down, man, for real.
Yeah.
But I accepted Christ. That was 17. I was 17. And within a year, I was involved in Christian music. You know what I mean? So,
were you involved in music prior to you giving your life to the Lord?
Not really, man. I mean, it's funny. I was more of a sports guy, and then when Stryper came along, it kind of changed a lot for me. And actually, it's cool. I actually saw the guys last week in Nashville, and they were so good. But a film crew came a few months ago and interviewed me for their documentary, and it was really cool to revisit some of that stuff. And I realized, and I say this in a documentary, but it is true. I don't think I would have ever been involved in Christian music if it wasn't for Stryper, because it's like I didn't, I was listening to Motley Crue and Rat and Poison and things like that.
Oh yeah,
and people were, and nothing against Petra, but people were trying to go, this is rock, you know what I mean? But it didn't have that sound that I identified with, and I love the Petra guys. And to this day, they inspire me in a lot of ways. But Stryper, was one of those things planting a seed in me, man. So, but I wasn't really involved in music so much, other than we went on a Six Flags trip, amusement park in St. Louis with that same Christian school. They had those like "You Can Be a Star," which basically is like a karaoke booth at this point. And
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I did "Smoking in the Boys' Room" by Motley Crue, and like the kids like, wow, dude, you sound like really good. And so they pulled their money together and had me do "Wanted Dead or Alive" by Bon Jovi too. So, and the kids were making tapes of it and passing it around like it was like something cool. And so at that point I thought, well, maybe I can sing. And and then ended up getting a record deal with my very first band. And I was actually not the main singer. I was the bass player, and I was terrible. And the producer heard me singing and said, why isn't this guy singing? And I can tell you why I wasn't playing bass, because I tracked bass on that whole record, and then we left, and 2 months later got the final mix. It wasn't me playing bass on that record.
Oh, for
They'd
real?
hired somebody to come in and for real, and everything. But I get it; it's totally cool. But I ended up singing half that record, and from then on, I just became the lead singer. So,
wow, that's
so
hilarious.
that's how you that's how you found your voice. Then was that a Six Flags karaoke thing?
Yeah, just because in basically just doing imitations. I mean, my voice has changed. But when I was younger, I could imitate a lot of people's voice. Even stupid stuff like, "Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit," like Bullwinkle, like stupid stuff. But I could. It's a weird thing. I can kind of, when I hear somebody's voice, I can kind of hear how they do it, if that makes sense. So
yeah, okay.
And like I said, when I was younger, before the mimic, yeah. But your voice changes as it gets older and stuff, and it's like I can't really do the Paul Stanley stuff anymore like I did when I was 14. Although I did do my Paul Stanley imitation for Gene Simmons backstage at a show in 2003, and he just laughed. He goes, "You got the advantage. You're half his age."
Oh wow, that's funny.
Wow. So was Tempest that first band that you were in?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Yes. Now I've heard some Tempest, and I'll say, you
Sorry
hear
to hear
your
that.
voice. you definitely hear you, but it's higher. I'll say that it's higher.
Oh yeah. No, it's to be fair, and I can objectively say this, and I've said this for decades now. So we had no business being signed. I think the label initially was interested because there was a thrash metal band in Ohio named Tempest, and they thought we were them, and so they paid to have us record a song. I'm dead serious, and they paid for us to record a song, and we recorded the song. It was seriously like a $500 budget, and we sent it, and they said, "Yeah, let's do this." So that's how we ended up getting our first deal. But if that other band, if the A&R guy hadn't thought the initial person he was discussing with wasn't from that band, I don't think I'd be talking to you guys right now. So,
wow,
that's pretty funny.
Kind of funny how things like that happen, right? You don't know where you're going to start, and then you end up someplace else. But if you hadn't had that moment, who knows? God orchestrates all kinds of things.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
really cool.
That is. So now, okay, so you go from Tempest and Stryper, and let me just even back up with Stryper. Yeah, full blown. Like we were raised, Carmen was probably our first, and then we went into Petra, Rustaff, and then we were at a Christian bookstore and we see Yellow and Black Attack, and we're like, "What is this?" So we picked that up.
To Hell with the Devil, and we're like, "Oh, they're cursing on this. This is wrong. You cannot say to hell with anything."
No, you can't.
We didn't know that they were going to go to goddamn evil later.
Yeah, that was pretty hardcore, man. No, but it's funny. I understand that from a fan perspective, man, because it's like literally, I've known those guys since I was 20. And like because there was a real closeness especially with Tony, our guitar player, with Oz.
Yeah.
During the Against the Law period, Tony was actually giving guitar lessons to Oz and like schooling Mike and like tutoring. So we were around a lot. But I'm telling you, dude, even last week, I get in the room with those guys. I'm 15 years old again, man. It's still that's Stryper. You know what I mean? And it's just how it is, man. So.
Yeah. I saw some of the pictures you took, and gosh, man, like I would have loved to be at that show. We saw them not too long. Well, I guess it's been quite a few years now, actually, and at the House of Blues in Anaheim. But yeah, like they're like a freight train, man. They just keep going, and their music it doesn't fail. Like it just kind of they're just incredible.
What was cool about this thing is they're doing an anniversary tour, so they do 2 sets. The first set was all the classics, like in chronological order too. It was like they started with the Yellow and Black Attack and went all the way up to Against the Law, and then they take like a 30-minute break and they come back and they play all the newer stuff. And it totally works.
Oh, wow.
But, it's funny. I actually was thinking, I actually bought a ticket and then found out later they put me on the guest list. So I wasted money, but so be it. But I didn't ask, at least. But anyway, I was saying, thinking, this is, other than when I was 15, this is like the second time I've seen Stryper like 50 to 60 times. This is the first time.
Wow.
The second time in my life I saw Stryper where I wasn't opening for them. You know what I mean? And so it was cool. So I just went just purely as a fan, and it was awesome. And I got to tell you, I told Michael too. He had those thyroid issues. He had to have his thyroid removed. It seems like it's opened up his throat a little bit, because he's singing better than ever. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's
wow.
like he's really killing it. So
man,
I encourage you to go see this tour if you can, if it rolls through.
Yeah, they're rolling through St. Louis here pretty soon. So that's a few hours from me. So I'm definitely wanting to go see that. So they're just, and the Against the Law period, I don't know. We loved that album too. I mean, it was actually, it was probably a turning point. We're like, okay, they're rocking even harder. As a matter of fact, they say that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're just rocking harder to make her.
They do say that. We're rocking hard. Yeah.
So
the first album,
I like that record too.
Oh yeah, it's great record. The first album, though, I mean, you mentioned it too. The Yellow and Black Attack. That album, you actually Guardian redid like a number of tracks on that one.
We did the whole
that
EP.
had to been yeah. Like, how did that come about? Because that's pretty cool to go from a fan.
Well, I'll tell you the story about that. It's kind of cool. Back in the day before everybody streamed music, like labels actually had decent budgets for stuff, and in our contract, when we renegotiated in '95 with Word, they had a budget in there of $50,000 for a live record, and this was right when those ADAT recording studio things were happening. Like basically people could record at home, and we ended up actually recording both the Buzz and Bottle Rocket on those formats. But we could get those, and we realized, why don't, instead of we record one show, why don't you give us the budget, let us buy our own stuff, and we'll record every show. And so they did. And so once Tony got that thing set up, we realized, okay, we need to record something. And I said, let's just do a Stryper song. And then I had this wild thought. I was like, well, let's do a whole EP, the whole first 6 songs, the first thing, and put it out just for fun. And that's really how that came about. It was really that simple. So
wow.
If it wasn't for the live record, that never thing would happen. And Tony was learning production, and he ended up being like a really good mixing guy, and like he did a lot of stuff like Audio Adrenaline and Newsboys, and even to this day he's the live sound engineer for Danny Goki, the American Idol guy. So
is that right?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
Gosh, fun facts all over the place today. I did not know that.
Matt, you're the fun fat guy.
So if you go see a Danny Goki show, you'll see Tony. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, exactly. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the best
guitar.
guitarist. He's the best guitarist in the building that's not on stage. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, he's incredible. I've seen him on videos with I think Michael W. Smith, and it's just it seems that I'd see videos and he would just end up on the stage, and I'm like, what a trip. He's just kind of all over. So now 20 years old, because I kind of want to back up. How did you end up with Guardian?
Sure. Well, here's the thing. I came in as a fan. Like I said, it was the Striper thing that led the charge for me. And I remember reading in like Metal Edge magazine or something that there was this band Guardian, and Oz was producing them. And I was instantly curious about it. And I remember it was kind of an interview, kind of like this, but it wasn't podcast days; it was fanzine days. This guy Jeff McCormick had a fanzine called The Pendragon, and he interviewed me with Tempest, and he said something. He goes, "Yeah, I interviewed Tony Palacio from Guardian." I said, "Yeah, I heard about those guys." And literally he said this, and I'm thankful he did. He goes, "Yeah, he's really cool. You guys probably get along. You want his number?" And so he gave me Tony's number, and I was 17 or 18 years old. I think it was 18, and I just cold called him. No, I was 17 because it was before my dad passed. I was 17, and I cold called him, and I literally said, like, you know, because I assumed that they was a rock star stuff. They were signed to Enigma. They were working with Striper. And I thought, you know, he was like riding around in limos and stuff like that, like stupid stuff that you think when you're in Indiana at 17.
Right.
So anyway, I called him and said, "Hey man, don't hang up. I'm just a fan. I wanted to say hello and everything and introduce myself." And he's like, "What are you talking about? You know, hang up. What are you talking about? Who do you think you're talking about?" So anyway, so we would talk about stuff, and he would very politely answer my Striper questions and whatnot. And then he called me. I called him, and Tony's personality is like this. Even to this day, he's still just randomly. I hate to talk on the phone. Absolutely hate it. Video is my thing. What we're doing right now. Yeah. But Tony will just call up, say, "Hey, man, just see how you're doing." Perfect. And he kind of did that, and he called me, and it was like a week went past, and he called. And I was at a Christmas party, and he spoke to my dad, and he said, "No, he's at a Christmas party. I'll have him call you." And the next day, my dad passed away of a heart attack. And so the last person outside of my household to talk to my dad while he's alive was Tony Palacios. And so that morning I was taking him to a doctor's appointment, and he had a heart attack on the way there. So it was pretty heavy, but here's the thing. So Tony calls like a week later and says, "Dude, you usually call me back. What's up?" And I said, "Well, dude," I said, "my dad died." And here's what's interesting. And you're talking about God's providence and just how he orchestrates things. I didn't have any friends around that time that had lost a parent. I didn't know anybody. I'm sure plenty of people have lost parents. I didn't know anybody. And all of a sudden, this guy in California, I find out, lost his mom when she was 12. And he understood my experience. And so he really, really was a big help to me during that time. Not outside of music, just as a Christian, as a friend, everything. And so it was really, you know, one of those things, man. It was like, we went way deeper than music, and I'm still at this day and age like super appreciative. But when I heard that Guardian was looking for a singer, I sent him, you know, I called him and said, "Can I send you something?" He's like, "Nah, man, we know what you sound like." He hated my first band, like absolutely hated. So I had to literally talk him into letting me send an audition tape. He's like, "Well, we're kind of wanting like a bluesy kind of white snakey kind of guy." I said, "Dude, that's me." And he's like, "All right." He goes, "Just go into a studio, set up a microphone, and just sing." I said, "That's it?" And he's like, "Yeah." Okay. And I found out later that was what they were asking people to do, and like no one would do it. Like just sing without music, and no one would do it. And so I did that, and I said, "Well, here's a song I'm working on that I've written too," and it was the basis of what became "Never Say Goodbye" off Fire and Love. And I overnighted it to him.
Oh wow!
And then, you know, this is pre-internet, so I'm calling the FedEx number, tracking to see if it got delivered. And after like a week, like 6 days or so, his wife finally says, "You need to go pick up that FedEx thing because he's been calling every day, and you've got to at least, you know, respect him enough to do it." But he didn't want to hear it because he just knew it was going to be terrible. And so he went and picked it up, and he's going to Pachyderm Studios to meet with John Dino, and he said he popped it in. He had to pull off the road. It's like, oh my gosh. This is our guy. He
Wow.
could not believe it was me. Hey, hold on. You're going to get a guest appearance here real quick. This is my grandson. This is Madison. What's up? You see?
Oh, hi,
This is
Madison.
This is my buddy. His mommy's at a concert tonight, and so he's hanging with us for a little bit. So this
All right.
Oh,
this
love
is
it.
his second podcast appearance, isn't it? Yes. He's a pro at this point. All right, give us
He's
a
gonna be a regular.
All right.
Who are all these guys? Who are all
you,
these
buddy.
people I keep looking at on the computer?
That's right.
That's
I
funny.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, we have him every Saturday. We're home, so it's pretty awesome. So
That is cool.
Oh.
he
Love
rules.
that.
He rules the roost.
No, my son keeps walking back here. My son's a big fan of yours, so he keeps walking back here just to look at you.
Well, kind of put him on here.
Where's he? Where's Gavin?
Where's he at?
He just went upstairs, but
Is it Gavin?
he'll probably.
Well, when
he'll
Gavin
probably
comes
be
in-
stick around.
When Gavin comes back in, put him on. We'll say hey.
Okay, deal. So, wow. So that was off of Never Say Goodbye. So that was the thing, and then
Yeah.
Did you have to audition in person, or was it just we'll take
Yeah,
you?
actually, they flew me out, and it's funny. Once again, I had cut my hair fairly short, and I dyed it kind of purpley black. It kind of looked like I was kind of like into the Cure type thing, and
Oh,
literally, and like I said, this would have bothered me to talk about back in the day, but this day I don't care, man. Dude, I mean, I got an Amish beard. Come on. So, and I don't have any hair. I don't have any hair. But I got off the plane. I was about 25 pounds overweight, and I had that purplish hair. And Tony just said his heart sank because this is 1990. This is the height of the hairband era, and the look was just as key as the sound. And he was like, ugh. But he said, "Let's try it. Let's give it a shot." And then I went to rehearsal. And he goes, and we did Kingdom of Rock. I remember it, and I love that song. And I just remember singing it, and this is so cool. So we did that. We did Mystery Man, and I think we did I'll Never Leave You. I think we did those three. And then Tony says, "Well, here's a riff idea I've got." He goes, "See what you come up with this," and it was what became Power of Love. And so he's playing it, and literally the first thing out of my mouth in the chorus, I said, "Tell me, can you feel it? Yes, and I believe it. Talking about the power of love." That was it. And Tony stopped, like, "Hold on, wait." He goes, he went to get a recorder to record it. And so that night, that first audition night, we wrote the majority of Power of Love, and we wrote the majority of The Rain that night. Those two songs that were Guardian staples to our whole career. And I remember him taking me to the airport and says, "Dude, your voice is great." He goes, "Our concern right now is, it's this image." And he goes, "We could get hair extensions," which I did. I got hair extensions. I had hair extensions up till the Miracle Mile record. Oh, and I lost some weight. And so a month later when I came, dude, the Fire and Love record cover, I'm wearing a wig. Dude, we rented that. We rented that.
That's a wig.
No, if you see, on the Fire and Love on Miracle Mile was actually my hair. But no, that's a wig we rented from a store in Santa Ana, California for $50. So it went back after the photo shoot.
Wow.
And we did that. But like I said, guys, my hair was about this length, and it was like purplish. And so we did that. But they said, "Man, we just feel like God's saying this is our guy." So they did, and it worked. You know what I mean? So here we are. But no, dude, somebody walked in later and rented that. Had no idea they rented that hair, and it's been on a record cover. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Well, you never know. Maybe it'll be at a Hard Rock Cafe, in Vegas someday. You'll be like,
it'll be
exactly.
It'll be at Taco Bell. That's right. In the dumpster, lining in the trash can.
Seriously, but
we got to find that wig. We need to do an interview with that wig.
Just the wig.
How did that head feel?
It would probably be more exciting than me. So
the Rain. I'll just say. That song. I just want to personally say thank you for that, because I know my brother and I, in high school, trying to find yourself and going through your own struggles with broken families and stuff like that. That song, I can pinpoint sitting down in my room, playing it, hitting the repeat, because it's just one of those things where it's like, man, that just really, really impacted, my relationship with God. Matt, I think you were kind of in the same boat, and so this is one of those fan out moments, but also one of those thank you moments. Like, seriously, I listen to that song now, and it brings me back to that time in my room where I found some hope. And it came
dude.
That song.
Yeah.
So,
that's my favorite. That's my favorite Guardian song. Is The Rain. It's always been.
I had
really
that as a question.
The Rain is definitely my favorite, and like I said, it was a staple of our live sets. And like, if Guardian plays and we don't play that, something's wrong. You know what I mean? Not that Guardian's going to play again. I don't want to start that rumor. So, but no, dude, just love it. You know.
We're just talking about storms, and the wave goes back by the wave. I mean, it's just so on
Storm's
point.
Gonna come, and you know it's a fact, but the power of the Lord's gonna make you stand. Yes. Do you see? I enjoy singing this stuff too, because it's been a while. So it's yes,
I can tell.
Dude,
that's awesome.
That's a great message, great song, and everything. But on that record too, Tony wrote that song "Time Stands Still," and even more so as an adult, the lyric of that is really like personal and deep, man. It wasn't my experience; it was his. But I've been blessed by that. I don't like to use cheesy Christian cliches, but I've been blessed by that song, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah. We actually just
so Joe and I just reviewed this entire album. It actually just came out this last Monday. We sat down and what we typically do on this podcast is listen to every single song up until about the chorus, and we talk about it, talk about what it meant for us. We have some fun with each other. But this entire album, every single track has something. I mean, something for somebody. It is an amazing album.
Yeah.
And so it just to reminisce and to go back, it's just phenomenal. So, it's very cool. It's exciting.
But then, all of a sudden, on a video screen in a Christian bookstore, there's an old black man tap dancing, and there's a new song that comes out.
And you're like,
So, anyways,
exactly.
You guys have.
You're like, what is going on here? What is Guardian? This is something. Look at the man tap dancing. That tap dancing doesn't belong in heavy metal, but it does in this.
It needed its swing style horns and everything like that. But and what's cool is that riff, all that Carl, who is our drummer, he actually wrote that, but he didn't write it on guitar. He sang that to Tony. He goes, "I'm hearing this and stuff." So Carl actually birthed that song, and it was really cool. But dude, that video, I remember we shot that video in December in LA, and I remember it was really cold. But it's funny because none of us had a notion about this at all, because we just thought the story was about this guy who had lived God's grace, has a lot of wisdom, and he's a humble man. He's not like some rich fat cat guy. Just a guy who's, I always said, he's walked the miracle mile. He knows what it's all about. But Sony was doing our mainstream distribution, and the A&R department there said that it was racist, and I was like,
"What?
The video was racist, having a tap dancing black guy." But man, the actor who played that role in that thing and as a tap dancer, he was on that. He had a recurring role in that TV show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Dude, the guy was totally cool and totally loved being a part of it and everything like that. So it's like, no one had ever thought that until 2 months later when Sony said, I don't think we're going to be pushing this to MTV this time. You know what I mean? So
wow.
So it's just weird. But it wasn't even. It's not even. It wasn't our thought. It wasn't even a thought to us. It wasn't our intention or anything.
Yeah.
So, I just thought it was.
Jeez.
PC/woke before that became the thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, exactly. Trust me, I've gotten in trouble at work for certain things that I've done that did not have the intention whatsoever of being what it was. But but that's like 20 years ago. So
what did you say something like? Did you say something stupid like "I like ketchup" and somebody said, "Why do you hate mustard"?
No, it's actually much weirder than that. I actually like the feel of a Reese's peanut butter pumpkin when it's cold on your face. Yeah. It feels really smooth.
You got in trouble for that?
I started putting it on Instagram and asking people to do it.
Yeah.
So I worked for an airline, and so I went around and had pilots and flight attendants, and they were like, "Hey, I'll rub." I'm like, "Wow, that is really smooth." I did get in trouble for it because it turned into something that it wasn't.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anyways, this is the other stuff that comes with Christian music and other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, just so you know, I have a kinship here. I'm actually in the middle of it. Like I've fasted right now for I'm on my 50th hour. I started doing intermittent fasting, and I've lost 58 pounds in the last 2 months, which has been phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
My body is thanking me greatly. It's that my sinuses and all that stuff is cleared up. It's great.
Wow.
But I was going to tell you, this is why I'm fasting. When I'm slowing, Reese's Cups.
Yep.
Reese's Cups are my downfall. Everybody knows to bring me a Reese's Cup. They know not to right now, but I'm there. So the minute you said that, just know it put a full vivid image in my head, and texture-wise and everything. I could taste that Reese's pumpkin, man.
Oh, so good. Well, when you get a chance and you have the opportunity for the pumpkin or even the Christmas tree, when it's frozen, the texture feels really good on your face. I'm just going to say.
All right.
But that is
rub it on your face.
more than the texture.
All right.
Just
right.
don't put
Now,
it on video.
is that going to get this is that going to get? I was going to say, is that going to get the podcast canceled? Talking about it.
I don't know.
You're inciting. You're inciting violence against facial cream or something.
It's facial cream. So what you should do with peanut butter pumpkins is rub them on your face and eat them.
I don't know why
I never
I've got
thought that we'd
acne.
go from Miracle Mile to this.
I've got this acne in just this little area. I don't understand it. Just all these pimples showing up because of these pumpkins. But
Exactly.
Lay off the pumpkins.
That was a good smoking impression there. I actually like that.
From somebody who doesn't smoke.
Yeah, that would be my impression too. I don't smoke either, so I usually come from this.
Dude, my smoking experience would probably be like this. That would be me. So.
what do I say? I don't drink, smoke, or chew, or run with women who do. That's
that was
my
what
motto.
my mom would say that. Yeah. So.
right.
Wait, do we have the same mom? Am I the third twin
You
that was
might
born
be.
just decades later?
There was
That
one
could be.
born decades later.
Less than a decade later. We're 47, so you're 54, so we're within.
54. So that's a long labor, bro. That's a long labor.
That is a long
Exactly.
labor. So you've done.
That's a long labor.
So you've done. How many albums total? I mean, if without me counting with Guardian.
With Guardian studio records, I have to count on my fingers here. Fire and Love, Miracle Mile, Swing Swing Swung, Buzz, Bottle Rocket. We did a later almost home record, which was not real. To be fair, there's some songs on that record I really love, but everybody was so disorganized and dysfunctional. Like basically, Jamie Prainito and I created most of that record, and the other guys kind of guessed it on it. So it's almost like not a true Guardian record, and you hear it in the sound. It doesn't sound like Guardian, but the song "Almost Home" is one of my all-time favorite Guardian songs. But then and we also did 2 Spanish records. We did Nunca Te de Adios and Promesa, which was basically songs taken from the other records and translated into Spanish, and I sang them. And those 2 are easily, by far, not even close, our most successful records.
Is that
Latin
right?
American releases? Absolutely. Go to our Spotify right now. You can't if you only read English, you're going to think you're on the wrong profile because all our top songs are Spanish. Yeah.
Wow,
That's
so you guys
really cool.
You guys had quite a following then with the Spanish community. I did see those albums come out. Okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, on a good night, we would play for 1,000 people in Albuquerque, and I'd be like, "Okay, man, this is great." We never played for anything less than 5,000 in Latin America, and our very first show in Costa Rica was 7,500 people, and the people knew all the words. And I had Spanish cheat sheets in my hand reading, singing "Es muy difícil," and they were so loud you couldn't even hear the band. It was just really cool. What's going on here? And I'm going to circle this back. That's another testimony because of all the things you plan as a band. Okay, we're going to do this, and maybe this will make this happen. We had nothing to do with the Latin American thing. God just totally did that on His own. We had nothing to do with it, and it was our most successful venture. So to speak.
Wow.
Man.
And did you speak Spanish prior to that, or did you have to?
No, I don't speak
learn
Spanish
the
now,
words?
but I barely speak English, man. No, but and I think that thing I was talking about earlier, as far as imitating voices, phonetically, I had a phonetic teacher and would work with me on the pronunciation, and evidently that was the thing that people connected with so much because it sounded authentic. and people said I sang with an Argentinian accent, and it's like, and that's cool. I have no idea to this day, and and it's really lazy on my part because, like I said, I'm going to Mexico City next year again to play. It's kind of shameful that I don't speak Spanish. I mean, I can understand most of it, but like. Yeah. I can say, like, if I got to go to the restroom and say, el baño, andale, you know what I mean? So I need to go to the bathroom fast. Yeah. But beyond that, no.
Yeah. Well, I worked for immigration for 5 years in Santa Ana, California. Didn't see your wig there.
Yeah.
But
no, you don't know. You don't know.
That's true. That's true. There's a lot of people coming into the immigration building, but I don't speak any of that. I could have spoke Spanish or Vietnamese or any of that, and I've never learned how to speak any of it. So,
but you probably understand more than you probably understand more than most people. Yeah.
Yeah, like Imigra and
Aki.
Aki. yeah.
I know horchata and tacos al carbon, al pastor.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm fasting. I need to get off this.
You got food on the brain.
You're going to be hungry.
So now you came out with This Is Home, several years back, and which and we heard the song I Do. That wasn't on that album, but you wrote that one for your wife, which is a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And then came out with This Is Home, which is kind of a rock country. I don't know. It's like a mixture of rock and country. I guess a little of both.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of an identity crisis. I still think it's a good record. It's just not a good Guardian record, But time-wise, like that, we'd released that before I did I Do, and I Do came about because my wife and I were like 3 weeks away from our wedding, and I wrote that song for her one afternoon. And I played it for her, and she heard it. She goes, "Honey, you got to sing this at our wedding." And so I did, and I messed it up. Of course, we were outdoors and the tuning was terrible. I had to stop and adjust my capo, but no, it was cool. So I recorded it, and I still love that song. I mean, obviously it's super meaningful for me, but then I think this is kind of where you're leading into, where I ended up making a solo record. This Is Home. And it was a country influenced rock record for sure. And for some reason, I just got on a kick for a few years where all I listened to was like that radio station, The Highway on Sirius XM, which was modern country. And through work, I work for a company called True Tone, and we make guitar pedals and power supplies. And we have a lot of like A-list artists use our stuff. So Florida Georgia Line were coming through, and they were one of our artists that we dealt with. And I went to the show and I said, "This is the best Bon Jovi show I've ever seen in my life." You know what I mean? Because it didn't seem like country. It seemed like arena rock. And I realized a lot of that stuff, songwriting structure and everything I liked from 80s rock was present in modern country music for a few years. Now, not so much, but for a while there it was. And so that, I just started writing songs, and that's what came out. It wasn't like I'm going to sit down and write like country rock. That's what came out. And then to pull you off the ledge, when the pandemic happened, I remember driving to my office, and people were losing their jobs, people were dying, and I turned on the highway, and I remember hearing this song, "We're gonna have a good time." It was one of those like, we got our red certificate, and I literally said, "I can't do this anymore. This is so this is not a reflection of real life here." And so I literally stopped. And haven't listened to country music since. So I can tell you the name of the artist and everything. And my brother-in-law, Amber's brother, is a major country songwriter. Like Luke Combs has like 13 number ones. So I have access to that world. It's just not where I it doesn't inspire me anymore. I don't but for a few years it truly did, man.
Yeah. Well,
it was Bon Jovi with an accent.
Bon Jovi. Well, listening to that album, I mean, there's two songs that stand out to me. One is "Better Off Than Yesterday." I really like that song. There's just something about it that it talks about your dad. It talks about life. It talks about reflection. That one, and then also "This Side of Eternity." Just another really good song. And I was going to ask you, is that also for Amber?
I wrote that right here for my wife. And not to literally right here, seriously, guitar, and this is going to sound, I think she'd be okay with me sharing this story, but somebody she knows. Have you ever seen somebody, and I know that people get this, like you see somebody in a grocery store and you realize, oh, if I say, hey, I'm going to talk for 20 minutes and I don't have that time.
Yeah.
She had somebody do that to her in a grocery store. Like I know they recognized me and they act like they didn't see me. And she came home really hurt about it. Mm-hmm. And like, she was really hurt. And like, you know, and obviously I publicly love out loud. So it's no secret. I really love Amber, like hardcore. Yeah. And it broke my heart. And I wrote that song for her, like literally sat down and wrote it probably in 20, 25 minutes and went and played it for her.
Wow.
And that was it. And so and it ended up on the record. That's what I say. I write music a lot, not knowing if anybody's ever going to hear it. You know what I mean? So I don't sit down and write, you know. Well, right now I write new Calamity Kills. I hope a lot of people hear it. You know what I mean? So, but for the most part, if I get a song idea, you know, I just write it, and that was kind of a gift to Amber. But yeah, Amber's in a lot of my songs, man. You know, they always say to write what you know.
Yeah,
that's what I know, man. So and better off than yesterday. Thank you for saying that, because that's said. As I get older, I understand my dad a lot more. Like I said, my dad passed when I was 17, and I understand him a lot more. So that was kind of like a tribute to my dad in a lot of ways, and just, you know, in life, you know, unfair things happen. And God sustains it. And I truly am. I'm better off than yesterday. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and you also go into Born Again, you know, which talks a little bit about that, some of the struggles and, you know, just very transparent, you know, and
it's very honest and open.
Yeah.
Just you're candid
what you know.
with who you are.
Right.
Yeah. Right. What you know. And this is another thing. It's like, I don't Guardian, how we did things and worked within Christian music, that industry, so to speak, I have no regrets there, but somewhere along the way, I got to a point, it's like, we have this great hope. Why would I want to put it in an area where only people who think like me have access to it? And so that was a big thing for me. And so, and another thing is creatively, like a song like even Born Again, definitely not Kissing on You, which was a song about my wife off that record.
Yeah.
In the Christian community, you couldn't write that. But the thing is, you know, it's a part of our lives and everything. So I always look at this like, when you get in that Christian music bubble. No, one, I do think there's a place for Christian music because it encourages people. And I actually recently, and God really changed my heart on that recently, because at first I was like, you know, it's just so insincere and inauthentic. I don't want nothing to do with it. But then I watched a Casting Crowns documentary, and I've known those guys forever. And I really felt Spirit just softening my heart through the whole thing. And I realized, you know, there is a place to encourage Christians. There's a place to encourage believers. And that's what I think the role of Christian music has become. But it's almost like somebody, if you're signed to a Christian label, if you're in Christian music, it's like they give you 3 crayons to paint with. Meanwhile, there's 7 to 12 available for everybody else. And to me, I live a 7 to 12 crayon life. I don't live a 3 crayon life, you know. There's been times, you know, I struggled with depression for a long time, and thank God I've not been on any kind of antidepressant medication for coming up on 4 years. Like I have no issues with it, and I did for years, man. And if I, you know, but no, if I listen to Christian radio right now, you would never know issues like that exist with people and everything. Like I said, I know it's a good encourager, man, because I pop it on, I'm encouraged, but.
Yeah,
it seems like a heavily edited version of real life sometimes, man.
Yeah, no, it's funny because you know, Matt and I were just talking about this a couple weeks ago. We were listening to an audio adrenaline album where he says, "Sometimes I'm a man of God, sometimes I'm all right." And I was like, man, you know what? It's like, seriously,
so simple.
Can we just say like, I'm not okay? Can we put that in a song?
Yeah. And not it be cliche, but to actually be like, hey, I'm truly not okay. Like I was in church a couple of years ago, and I don't know, it was done with worship. We were doing greeting, and one of my friends, Matt, came over and he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing good. I'm like, how are you? He's like, I'm really struggling today. And I looked at him like, wait, so am I. and it almost opened up this door for me to be honest. And I thought, you know what? Why are we honest more? That, you know what? I could be sitting in church, I could be worshiping, but you know what? I'm not okay. Like I know that there's a God that saves me, and don't know. So I appreciate honest music.
Yeah.
And I think it does. It speaks to people.
And I work in a.
I'm to the point. Go ahead.
Oh, I said, and I work in a prison as a pastor in a prison. So we do church.
Oh, right on.
So today I have a church of inmates filled with about 115 people today, and they all know they're not okay. It's probably one of the most liberating experiences to be around a whole lot of people that are like, man, I really need Jesus. Like I really,
dude,
I really need Jesus.
I actually played locally for a prison a couple years ago here, and in Guardian in Chile, in the country of Chile, we went to like a maximum security prison and did the full on rock show. I understand that, man. It's like I fully understand that whole thing, and just in the humbleness, and just realize, man, these people made some bad decisions.
Yeah,
but they're still here. They've got time. There is redemption. There's grace.
Right.
And so I think that's really cool that you do that, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but like, just I think what we're all talking about, just that honesty of just, okay, can we just be transparent? And the same things in music, and you're right. There's a whole lot of colors in the crayon box. That's a great analogy. I never thought about that, but the fact that you can use
it's like, okay, here, paint this picture and use red, blue, and green, and that's it. Well, that's not a good analogy, because if you know color science, you can create almost any color with red, blue, and green. So you know what I mean. So
exactly. So, but with that,
no, man, and that's the thing, and I think it rubs people. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Sorry, I think there's a delay. I don't mean to keep talking over you. So
yeah, you're good.
No, I'm just gonna say, for me, and you probably have noticed this and stuff with Calamity Kills and stuff. I've decided to write authentically, and that to me is more important than, because dude, it would be really easy for me to write what people want to hear and have a certain amount of success with that. That's probably more than if I was just starting. But it's not authentic. It's not real. I wrote that song with Prainito, an anti-suicide song, and I pulled from my own personal experience, from when I was really dealing with depression. And in the last line of the song, I say it's so damn hard to fight the pain.
Yeah.
And I wrestled with that for a while. Instead of thinking I could take that out, but I'm thinking, well, hold on, this is authentic, because when you're feeling like that, when you're thinking about ending your life, you're not thinking of proper sweet words. And so I kept it in there.
Yeah.
To try to connect with people who really understood. Okay, this guy knows what I'm talking about. He's been there, Yeah. So, it's like, is that a license to write crap? No. No. Do I want? Dude, I want something. I want something of value to come out of my mouth, man. Musically, I really do.
And God gives us these experiences and brings us through these trials for a reason. Not only for us, but I mean, if you have a voice and you can share it with other people and say that there's hope on the other side of this mountain, then why not use what He's given you? I mean, it's okay, God. Why are you're bringing me through this valley? The rain's coming down. Like, what's the next thing that's going to happen? But it's hope. It's hope as you walk through it, and you are able to give that to people if you're honest. And so, I appreciate the honesty there.
Yeah. I was listening.
You're making me in trouble, but it's worth it.
Well, I've listened to Starry Skies quite a few times, and I heard that, and and I can sing along and say the same word, and I'm like, but you know what? That makes sense. Kind of like, it's funny, to go back to your solo album, you say the same word in there, and you're like, sorry, I said it, but I have to say it, and and I love.
And I've sang that song in churches. I've sang that song in churches and didn't change the lyric.
That's awesome. Good. That's awesome.
Good.
Now, Calamity Kills. Matt, did you have something to say
before we go to
I...
Calamity Kills? Yeah, no, we'll have a little bit of delay, but before we go into Calamity Kills, because I really want to get into that. Can you talk me? You've been in music for so many years, and married to Amber. I believe not for a long time. Talk with me about how you maintain a strong relationship with your wife while still on the road recording music. I mean, continuing on with that, it just seems like you have a great relationship, and I would just love to hear a little bit more about you from you.
We do, and the good thing is that, not to discredit what you said, but I don't tour anymore. You know what I mean? I'm home every night.
Okay.
Amber and I literally, like, I have friends and stuff. I want to do stuff like that. There's no other person I want to spend time with, and she's the same way. So we're really homebodies together. There's literally, other than when we go both to our prospective jobs during the day, we're together all the time. Like, I don't even like to go to the grocery store without her. You know what I mean? So we stay together, and we made promises to each other when we first met, because we were both divorced, and we both knew what we did not want in a marriage or a relationship. And we made promises to each other, and we actually printed them out, and we stick to them. We've been married 8 years, and we've been together almost 9. And man, to this day, and I say this humbly, but we've never had an argument. We've had disagreements. We've never had an argument, because we talk things out before we get there. And one of our promises was, if we have a disagreement, to go into it knowing that we are each other's cheerleaders and everything. And that's really worked. But man, to me, it's just like, and I probably hack off a few of my friends and stuff because they don't understand why I don't want to go hang out. I don't want to sit and have wings with people. If it's a chance, I'd rather sit and watch some Hubie Halloween Adam Sandler movie on Netflix with my wife, than go out and do that. So, and we've thought about this with Kills, because, eventually, right now Kills is still building its audience, and there will eventually be touring opportunities. And, I don't want my life to change, man, because I really like it. Back in the day, I could be on the road and be gone for, month and a half at a time, especially when we went to Europe. And I don't think I've spent more than 3 days. I don't think I spent more than 3 days away from Amber the entire time we've been married.
Wow.
So it's just not.
That's awesome.
But that is something to definitely consider. And ideally, it'd be great if it did get to a certain level of success. She just become part of the tour staff and with me all the time. Anyway, that would be ideal.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, the relationship with your wife is inspiring, just to let you know. So it's really cool to see you.
Well,
the song,
she inspires me. She's my absolute best friend, and I always say this, and it's not exaggeration. She's the best person I know, and I can't believe she likes me. So, is that Gavin?
Yeah, he is.
I see in the background. He's frozen, but he's got his finger up right next to the Miracle Mile. There we go. What's up, Gavin?
Oh, there we go. It's not frozen anymore.
Here, come here. Here.
Yeah,
I'll let him say hi to you.
He's still frozen.
Headphones.
He's still frozen.
Hello.
Yeah.
Still frozen. Say hi.
What's up, bud? Hey, Gavin, how you doing, bro?
Good.
Move here.
Now, I don't know if you watched the podcast, but your dad said he was giving you $50 tonight after this thing was over with. So make sure you hold him to that, okay? So
He did. Actually,
he
I
said
thought
he
it
had
was
a crisp $50. It may have been. I may be mistaken. So he says he has it in his possession, and not to let him go to bed without giving it to you. So
I hope.
okay. Matt and I do too. So
Yeah, we do too. We'll hear about it later.
I'll take it.
I'll get a bill. I'll get a PayPal invoice.
I know, right? Yeah, PayPal.
See you, bud.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jamie.
Nice to meet you too, Bo. Bro, not Bo. Bro.
Bro. Anyways,
Joe, we made a little agreement. Matt and I made a little agreement with him while he was under the headphones.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
Yeah, you're good, Joe. You're good though, Joe. You're good.
Okay.
He might be looking for. He might be looking for back payment from the Tooth Fairy.
Oh goodness gracious!
Or maybe in advance. Maybe in advance for the Tooth Fairy. Maybe when he's like 60, 70 years old and losing his teeth.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I'm sure I'll hear about that probably when this releases. I'll be like, "What? That's So
speak about Amber. Amber's in a bedroom in there with grandson, but let's see. That's Amber. She's with me everywhere I go.
Oh, look at her.
Yeah. Look
Okay,
at
you
her.
have her tatted on your arm.
Yeah.
I love that.
that's from a photo I
cool.
took here at the house, and I put it on there. She liked that picture the best out of the ones we had, and so I just put her on there. So
nice.
she's with me everywhere. So
That's cool.
See, I like that.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
So I know we're getting incredibly we're getting towards our time here, and I want to talk about Calamity. I do want to ask this question because, man, Jamie, so I follow you on Facebook, and you post stuff, you post a lot with family, your kids, and Amber and stuff like that. But you also seem so down to earth. With all that success,
until tonight.
No.
So now you're even more down to earth. That's
even more down to earth. No,
He likes Reese's. Yes,
he likes Reese's. Well,
Too much.
he's
Everything
everything
down
we
to
want.
earth.
He's everything we thought he'd be. So, and wears wigs. But like, Like with all the success you've had, how do you remain grounded? I mean, you just seem like you have such a humility about you. Even the fact that you agreed to be on this podcast, just how do you remain grounded in your faith and grounded, just as a musician and artist? Like how do you do that in your walk?
Man, I don't know. I don't, like I said, I don't really function. I mean, even though it's like you would think I'm a full-time artist, I'm really not. You know, it's like, but because of social media and stuff, because of my history, people think I do. But
yeah.
And to be fair, I've got like a microphone set up here. I've been demoing and stuff. But man, it's like I don't really even think of myself as like of any kind of celebrity status or like a signed artist or something anymore. That was it was cool when I was younger and we were on MTV and stuff like that. That stuff was pretty cool. It really was.
Yeah.
But man, it's just like, dude, I go to the grocery store. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? And so it's
me too.
The thing is, no, me more so. Actually, it's funny. Yesterday in Target, there was a guy that's my friend on Facebook, and he's from Australia. He's a film editor in Hollywood, and he just moved to the city next to us. And I was in Target, and he recognized me. He goes, Jamie Rowe. His name's Peter Brewer. He's Peter Brewer and stuff like that. So it was cool. So the minute I tell you nobody recognized me, I realized, well, yesterday they did. Yeah. Okay. But no, man, dude, here's the thing, guys. And like I said, I went through a divorce, and when I went through that period, I was really not so much externally. You wouldn't see that, but in my heart and stuff, I was really bitter, not at God, but at what I call churchianity and stuff, and everything. Mm-hmm. I was really just, I was, they always say, hurt people. And I was hurting, but the thing is, it was self-sabotage for the most part. So that's on me, you know what I mean? But I just, I come to a conclusion, man. I just think that, how do I say this? There's this perception of people who are involved in Christian music as having some sort of like special access to God or something. Nobody does, man. It's just, you just happen to hear our songs. But my thing is I know who I am, and Amber accepts me for who I am and loves me. And I constantly thank God for her. And I thank God for my kids are all healthy and stuff. It's kind of, they're all doing well. And there's things like that once you get older, that's way more important than having a hit record, man.
Yeah.
And so I think some of it comes with age and stuff, but just also, man, I've lived a pretty full life, had some pretty great experiences. I got to see the world, you know what I mean? A poor kid from Indiana who'd never been on a plane before, he joined Guardian, I got to see the world. I mean, I've been to, I think we played over 35 countries, and I've been to Europe at least 50, 60 times, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of crazy, but you get to see people and you realize and see how people live. And then, like I said, right now, like I said, I'm the multimedia director at True Tone, and I play music for fun, and so I don't, there's somebody like Toby Mac or somebody, they'd probably have a better question, a better answer to that question. But to me, it's just like, dude, I'm just glad that God calls me his at this point in my life. And I also thank God that he's never left me ever. And I see friends, especially really close friends these days, struggling, but I know they belong to God, man. So I know that God's going to see them through because he saw me through, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly say that's an incredible answer, cause that's the truth, I mean, you know who you are and whose you are. And, God's given you a gift, it is, you've got an incredible gift, very distinctive voice.
It distinct. It distinct.
Distinct. I must have cut out. But dude, then let's go into Calamity Kills. First of all, I can't even stop listening to this. It
is so good.
Oh my
word!
So
awesome.
I love it,
it's
man.
Creative.
And the thing is, well, the thing that was cool is with Kills, that started off. That was going to be a solo record. That was going to be a Jamie Rowe record. And then once I started making it, I realized this doesn't really sound like solo artist music. It sounds like a band. And so I decided to be like, like Trent Reznor has 9 Inch Nails and it's just him. And there are other people. Yeah. So I thought I'll make a band identity. And originally it was the idea was just, I was going to do a mass thing, almost like a Slipknot thing. Like you wouldn't know who's in the band other than me. And so, but that quickly evolved. Once we started making the record, Prainito, who was my, partner for a long time musically, and he made the solo records. He made the Almost Home record with Guardian. He got way more involved and stuff. And I realized midway through the records, like, I think this is more like a 50-50 partnership. So we just decided to be partners in Kills. I kind of creatively lead it, but he makes it sound good and everything, but as far as co-writing, like Starry Skies was the first thing he and I co-wrote together. And we have a new track right now that we're actually like literally laying the basic tracks. Like right now it's called Slave, and Ray Luzier from Korn gets off tour tomorrow, and he's home for a few weeks, so he's going to track drums on that too. So nice. We'll have new stuff. But Jamie and I work together really well, and he's as I may be the face and voice of Calamity Kills, but it's a 50-50 project. Yeah. It really is. But it started off as my solo record. Those were songs that I just written. Like I said, like I told you, I sit down. I don't write with an agenda, and rock and roll was coming out again. You know what I mean? Hard rock.
Yeah.
So
it's really good.
Yeah,
it is. It's kind of addicting. I mean, because you just kind of want to keep listening to it. And when I look at iTunes, I see multiple like screenshots, and I'm like, oh, this is all on one album, but I keep listening to all the different singles.
Well, you got to go. But the whole album, the album is start to finish. I mean, it almost has an industrial feel in some way. You've got these samples, and it's very creative. I have to say, like it doesn't sound like everything that's out there.
Well, people probably wouldn't know this about me, but like as much as I love like melodic hard rock and everything, but dude, I love like electronic, I call dance metal, like Rammstein and like Rob Zombie, that kind of stuff. I love the sonic. I love the sonic vibes of that stuff, and even the newer stuff that's coming and stuff like that. I think kind of explores that a little bit more, but it's still very melodic and very memorable, and it sounds like Kills. But I like good programming, like where it's that 4 on the floor, like Hellfire Honey. Hellfire Honey bow down. I like that kind of stuff, man.
Oh man, so, with the plank in his eye. I love that that song. I listen to over
all
and
the
over
Ronnie hides in his. Dude, I saw a graphic this week. Somebody had posted that said, like the Barna Group, which is the big Christian like polling thing, like 54% of Christians like have no issue with porn. You know what I mean? And so that song is kind of out there because everybody always points at the girls. And the thing is, I'm also a photographer, and for like around 2022 and stuff, a lot of models, local models here in the Nashville area, would have me shoot at their like model shoots. And some of these girls had those OnlyFans accounts and everything. And I talked to them and stuff, and I was just treating them like people. And it's like I've never met anyone who wasn't created in the image of God. So there's always hope for everybody you meet. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I'd get stories about how many Christian married men subscribe to their accounts. You know what I mean? Wow. And so, and I started thinking, but you can go into church, they're always pointing at the girl and never taking responsibility. Right. Like, no, you're the guy. So that was kind of like, it's not really a preaching type thing. It's more of an observation that, Hellfire Honey bowed down to Jesus. Tell the girl you need to bow down. But the problem is, you're throwing fuel on the fire.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And nobody talks about that. So anyway, I did it.
Yeah.
And there was some tongue-in-cheek stuff there just because I have a stupid sense of humor. I thought it was pretty funny. So
no,
I put
it was. It is. It's actually really funny.
And a lot of people don't know, but that song, and I still believe it's Greg Upchurch from Three Doors Down playing drums on those tracks.
Is that right?
Some people don't. If you're in the iTunes area, you don't know that. So because they don't do liner notes,
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. I'm in the iTunes. You guys are both Spotify, I think.
I'm a Spotify person.
I have both. I'm Spotify until I go to sign on. It says such and such is playing in Amber's office. And I realize I can knock her off right now, or I can move over to Apple. And truth be told, exactly. I will find like the loudest death metal you can find, like brah! And sometimes when you're in your office, I'll put it on real quick. And so then I'll get a text, stop. I've done that quite a bit.
You didn't write that in your agreement for marriage. You should have wrote down, you cannot change my music in my office.
So I've done the same thing. my wife's driving like behind me, and yeah, same thing. I'll be like, oh, she's listening to country, and then I'll put on something silly like "Baby Got Back" or something. And she does the same thing. Then I get a phone
text.
call.
You'll get a text.
She's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Stop messing with my phone." But is there any hope maybe of having like vinyl or CD or anything like that come out for Calamity Kills?
We actually do have CDs right now. I don't really push them.
Okay.
And here's the thing. Like, it's on the Calamity Kills website. But guys, I absolutely hate being in the mail order business. And that's basically what it comes to. So all the orders that do come in, I take care of it and stuff. And sorry, I pulled up my headphones. I take care of the orders personally, so it's a hassle. And the thing is, tomorrow I'm having a conversation with a guy who has a label that does vinyl reissues and whatnot. I think I can say it for sure. You're definitely going to have a Calamity Kills vinyl and hopefully cassette, like, soon.
Nice.
Wow.
Cassettes are coming back now too, which is crazy.
I want it just for the I want it just for the nostalgia value.
Cool.
I don't think we want to do a whole lot of them. But I also had this idea from the minute we did the record, and I even mocked it up. You remember the cassette singles you used to buy? Or at least I did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of the two 80s covers, yes, of the two 80s cover songs that are on the record, the Pure Energy cover and I Still Believe, putting those on a cassette single and making it all like awesome. Retro 80s and just having like a limited like maybe 50 to 100 of those. I think it'd be great, man. But yeah, you can definitely count on vinyl and like I said, the CD's available now, but just I'd tell you to order it, but that means I got to go to the post office again. So, you know.
Okay. Well, if you get one tonight, then that's Matt. I'll respect your time.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I will say this though: if you send it, I'll send it out ASAP. And like last week, I missed an order. I didn't see it that came in with the other ones, and so that guy got a Calamity Kills CD. He got an autograph. This is home CD. He got a bunch of guitar picks and some stickers. So I felt bad about it, so I loaded him up. So.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Well, I have people.
How do I get it delayed?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what everyone's asking. No. How do I get it missed so I can get all that other stuff, guitar picks?
See, for me, I want to bring it into the prison because I want those guys to hear it because we don't have access to Spotify. Yeah. So that's the way
I'll go ahead and do this. I'll send you a CD after email me your address and I will send you a CD. Not a problem.
Okay. Awesome.
It'll take a week.
Cool.
But I will. I'll get it done.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jamie, it's been a pleasure and a lot of fun hanging out with you, and just getting a chance to hear about your history and your family and your faith. And I really appreciate you taking the time away from your family. And thank Amber and your grandson there, for that, for loaning you to us.
When we get finished here, that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take off the headphones. I'm going to go in there and see him. So that's a great Sunday night for Jamie Rowe. So
right on, man.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, one question before we end this.
Yeah.
What's your guilty pleasure? It could be
oh my gosh, dude,
TV show.
No, I can tell you this with no problem. That song, "The Safety Dance." You can dance if you wanna.
Oh yeah.
Dude, enough to the point where a couple weeks ago I found that singer on Instagram and I commented. I said, one of these days I'm going to cover this song and you're going to play keyboards on it. And the guy wrote back and said, like, you never know, and like a big smiley face. And then he went and liked a bunch of our like images and stuff. So
really?
I thought it was cool. But no, dude,
that's cool.
Here's I'll give you a list of things. That's kind of low hanging fruit because I think it's kind of obvious. I like 80s pop, but I like gas station microwave cheeseburgers like a lot. Like it grosses out everybody I know in my family. But like if it's in those Landshire foods or something like that, you can get it at a convenience store and you microwave it. I love those things.
That's funny.
Chocolate pies, like the fruit pies, like Hostess fruit pies.
Oh yeah,
they're very hard to find these days. I like those. I love stupid. Amber and I do this all the time. We have dumb movies like stuff like Secret of My Success and Valley Girl.
Oh yeah,
we watch those we watch those like way too much though. Way too much. Like
great 80s
it's on.
movies.
Let's say, do you want to watch anything? It's like, no, not really. I'll probably play on my phone. So we put Valley Girl in the background, but That's it. So 80s movies, chocolate pies, Reese's Cups, and stuff like the safety dance. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I have to say the during COVID, the airline I work for, and I won't name them, but because of COVID, we actually took that song and made a commercial out of it called the Safety Dance. I don't know if you ever saw it, but if you ever look at the video,
I'm going to Google it. I will Google it and find out what they're
like. Pilots, flight attendants, and they're fighting these germs and diseases because of COVID, and they're wearing these masks, and it's to the Safety Dance. We actually called them, and they redid the song to be about safety and COVID. So
wow!
To see.
Dude, that singer seems cool. Really cool. Yeah, that's actually awesome, man.
Yeah, it was really cool. So so you have to look it up. Just Safety Dance in an airline in the 49th state.
Okay, gotcha.
Named after the 49th state.
I'm already tracking. With what I've experienced and what other people said, has the best food of any airline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in-flight food. Yes.
In-flight food. All right. Well,
yes.
That's what I do. I take care of all the in-flight stuff. That's my job.
Well, there you go.
So
I just propped you.
Yes. All right.
All right. Well, thanks again, Jamie, for being with us. And anyways, you've been listening to Twin Speak Christian music and other stuff. So
lots of other stuff.
Stuff. So
sometimes I'm both. So
exactly.
So too.
Until next time, remember to subscribe, give us a like, give us a comment. Remember to be a blessing to other people, be a blessing to God. So, anyways,
be good people, everyone. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jamie, for joining.
You got it.
Bye.